And the presentation I'm presenting here on behalf on the project Atspara, which is run by a team of researchers. And myself, I'm affiliated with Vilnius University, mathematics and informatics faculty. And I'll just try to introduce myself very shortly. So let's say my field of interest are kind of multidisciplinary, and they are related with many topics, multidisciplinary topics, and some monographs also on the way and also published. And also there are some projects running and some publications, articles, and so on. And today I have a nice chance to present one more project which we are running with colleagues. And this project is down here. In just a moment, I'll show our team of researchers. And our team consists of a few professors from our institute and also some PhD students. And right now we started collaboration with other countries in the Baltic, like Latvia and Estonia. I'll show soon the project scope. So today I'm going to talk about systemic overview, which we made concerning machine learning applied for propaganda and social impact research. And we consider this topic important in our project. First, we wanted to understand the context of propaganda and disinformation research using machine learning. And that's why we made a systemic overview. And I'm going to present some results out of this overview. Okay. The content is here. First of all, I'm going to make a wider introduction, and then I'll present searching techniques like PRISMA methodology we used to select papers, and then meta-analysis. This is about results we got. And lastly, about some conclusions and discussion. Okay. So first of all, some contextual hints and explanation of terms. Was, you know, there is kind of confusion with terms in this area. That's why we have to make clear what we are talking about. So we are talking about propaganda, like fake news and propaganda and disinformation research in online social networks and social media. Yes. Shortly, we are going to make to use abbreviation like FNPD. Few in the text in the presentation here, and also there are other terms related with this subject, like foreign information manipulation and interference, which is all about coordinated efforts from other fed states, let's say, or non-state actors who are manipulating information environments, and they are making a mess in security and political situation and some strategic developments. So our countries, Baltic countries, are neighboring Russia, and you might understand why we are so keen, why we are so active in this sense, because propaganda and disinformation is very, very strong, and we are in the forefront in this battle. And sometimes it's not easy to fight against a flow of disinformation which is taking place. And here you see Here you see another term, as I told, like foreign information manipulation and interference. And according to European investigation, we had like 750 such cases, such incidents during 1 year period, 2022 and 2023. And you see the scale of these incidents. So another closely related term is cognitive warfare. And this term is actually emerging right now. And it's very actual in our case. That's why I have to make a short explanation. Cognitive warfare is considered kind of a part of information warfare, which focuses on influencing and disrupting cognition at individual, group, and population levels. And here's a kind of a conceptual map of the terms. And we have like information order and information disorder. So on the left side here, we have like false information, well, fake news, misinformation, and disinformation, which is like deceptive intent. And on the right side, we have like genuine information, ordered information, but some part of it might be malinformation, like authors, they do not know that they are misleading people, that they gave wrong information, but they do not do it intentionally. And here we have some cycle like this one, like bad intent cycle. Okay, so the concept itself, the conceptual terms. And now shortly, I'll not talk here a lot, but just to let you know that this systemic review examines recent advances in machine learning techniques for detecting and assessing the social impact of fake news, propaganda, and disinformation. And we actually use the PRISMA systemic approach, which I'm going to present soon. Okay, and we found a lot of other systemic reviews. Here are just a few of them presented here. But we understood after the revision of these papers that despite a large number of them, there is a lack of it's kind of a niche, let's say, of a social impact research in this field. This field has not received sufficient attention yet. This is, of course, multidisciplinary approach when social science, psychology, and other approaches and cognitive and behavioral science have to be involved in order to tackle the problem. What we were looking for, the social impact research via social behavioral pattern analysis, let's say, some radicalization, polarization research for societies. They are polarizing, they are radicalizing. Let's take an issue like a COVID case or Ukraine war case now, and so on. And then reasons for successful deception. Why those propagandic botnets and trolls, why they succeeding, why those emotional approaches are working well, and how they do it with deep fakes and so on. And then social impact modeling, let's say how societies are affected in terms of their views, of their behavior, of their political attitudes, and so on. And then echo chambers polarization effects, like filter bubbles and echo chambers were very kind of on the top of the list right now. And then cognitive warfare cases with some influence agents and so on, how they are making a net or operational net of agents, artificial agents, or some people, not informed people, networks, and how they are using that. Okay, so now I'll show a principal scheme of our wider research scope. So having a chance, I'll present it. Here you see the first phase. The first phase is about the systemic review I presented here, and the outcomes. We are right now in a review process with a triple success journal and some conferences here presenting stuff. And out of the systemic review, we got some insights. We got some insights for the other phases of research. And the second phase of research relates with Baltic initiative, Baltic Research Initiative, which we are doing with Latvian University and Tartu University in Estonia. Together, we are actually gathering data. We are labeling data for propagandic stuff and also disinformation. We are making labeled corpora and for later studies, for later analysis, for machine learning to learn the stuff and recognize and classify later. Okay, so and also we are preparing right now the survey. We are going to prepare, actually we already did, we have a questionnaires and so on, and we are running now online survey. And and we are going to make a computational linguistic analysis and statistics and cooperative analysis and so on, and we are going to publish some papers we are planning. Okay, and the third phase, which is going out of this first and second phases, relates with machine learning approach, which the major, actually, this phase is the major in our case. It's a major work for a few years. We already like in the half of the project, and we are already programming some machine learning algorithms using the various approaches for propaganda and disinformation recognition and classification. And of course, we are still in the process, because until accuracy is not met, the level of accuracy is not met, we are repeating the cycle. We need to have at least 1,000 of annotated text in order for machine learning algorithms to make a good precision, good recognition of propaganda texts, fragments, and so on in the news messages, social networks, and media portals. Okay, and yeah, we are in the process. We have like 500 articles already labeled, and we are using a label studio tool for that reason. And another publication is planned here. We are working on it right now. And the fourth phase relates with interactive tool, the publicly available interactive tool, which is going to be accessed through internet. And everybody would have a chance to use this tool for automated recognition of propaganda and disinformation techniques, narratives. There are different narratives or topics of these disinformation teams. And also we are going to provide social impact ratings. Okay, and the last phase of our research relates with modeling. modeling of social impact of propaganda and disinformation. So we are interested to see how the flow of propaganda and disinformation radicalizes, polarizes, and clusterizes society or different societies. Depending on different propagandistic scenarios, societies are polarizing and radicalizing in different way. And we want to make prognosis for government, for national defense departments, and so on. Okay. So in our case, now I'm going back to the phase number 1, as I just showed and presenting right now. So we use like few databases, well-known databases like Semantic Scholar, Google Scholar, Crossword, Scopus. And also we did a usual stuff like for searching, we are using some words and keywords and so on. And we had, initially we had like 1,388 articles, scholar articles selected. And now I will show the PRISMA approach so that you would see main steps. The first step is related with identification of potential articles. So as I said, we had like 1,388 articles, but some of them we were screening, we were filtering them out. So, some duplications, empty fields, and so on and so forth. And then the second stage, after the filtering, we got like 1,013 articles. And next, we also made some records excluded because of COVID team, which we are not looking after. And then we got this the third step, and again we screened some records off. They were excluded, like over systemic reviews we are excluded, and then we excluded in the fourth step some articles which were not relevant to the field of study, and the fifth step we also included some articles with missing machine learning, deep learning analysis, and social impact analysis, and so on. And then finally, we got 30 articles, which we were selecting for paper meta-analysis, which I'm going hopefully to present if I will have a few minutes for that. Okay, so those 30 articles covered period between 2018 and 2024. And they were about kind of, not exactly, but let's say we were looking for those papers which were covering social impact studies together with machine learning and deep learning approaches. And that's where kind of difficult to find, because mostly papers are narrow. Yeah, they are kind of only machine learning stuff or deep learning stuff, more specialized stuff. But some papers were covering also social impact studies. So some statistics regarding those 30 selected articles. So they were cited in average like 69 times, average publication date like 2021, and the social use like 89 times on average in each article. And then network and behavior analysis of those propaganda propagators was presented in 72% of papers. real-time fake news, propaganda, disinformation detection, and social impact and modeling were like 55%, and the geospatial data used in 22%. Propaganda techniques were detected, the analysis of propaganda techniques were detected in 22%, and sentiment analysis in 56% of those articles, and distribution patterns were performed in 67. I mean, distribution patterns. Now, there is a new trend in this field of research when for propaganda and disinformation spreading, the patterns of spreading are analyzed in social networks. The patterns itself, let's say the roads for which users, from which nets, and how those propagandic articles and news stuff is spreading. So this is about distribution pattern analysis, which helps to increase accuracy and recognition rates. Okay, and here's a research field like a general view. So this is a PRISMA flowchart stuff, and there's of all some research context for you. There's a lot of stuff here. I have no time here to present everything. So just briefly, you can see the research context like homophily, manipulation of public opinion, influence operations, like during elections and so on, and then cognitive warfare stuff, which is more subtle thing. It's not some easy to recognize that. So then botnets operations, there's a net of bots involved in that, let's say, and then social contagion, and then political discourse and clustering things and cognitive biases and so on. And then modeling stuff. In this case, we found that most of the papers were using kind of opinion dynamics, agent-based modeling, machine learning, deep learning, based community detection, the sentiment analysis, and so forth. Yeah, and then some metrics. For metrics, we found that polarization, radicalization indexes were used, echo chamber scores, graph-based partitioning, scenario simulations, homophilia metrics, and so on. And regarding outcomes, we found that, yeah, polarization, radicalization estimates, echo chambers, filter bubbles were recognized also. Yeah, and then FNPD spreading patterns were kind of visualized. And also social capital dynamics studied. And then trust and cooperativity indexes and norms were studied, conspiracy detection and behavioral changes and cognitive fatigue and so on. They also presented. Okay, so here's a publication statistics, let's say, just to see. Actually, here are presented three domains. The first domain relates, the green color relates with author detection, those authors who are generating the propagandistic stuff. And then the second domain relates with the content analysis. In this case, we are interested only about textual context analysis, not about visual or speech recognition. Although we are planning to do it in a few research, but right now only text. And then the third domain, this is the main topic here, is about social impact. And you can see all three domains, articles in all three domains, where actually the number of articles was growing. And this topic is still on a wave, so to speak. It's still actual, and it seems like in the coming few years is going to be the number of applications is going to grow even faster. So in our case, we did like in meta-analysis case, we used a few criteria, like key criteria on the left side. You can see we studied like novelty, which is presented in this field, main methods used, the data sets, metrics employed, main results obtained, study of the social impact, limitations, viewer research, and some specific criteria on the right side, like communion of users, like fake information bubbles, user profile analysis, networking impact estimates, social metrics of propaganda impact, social impact modeling, reasons for successful deception, and so on. And radicalization, polarization, and I have no time here to present everything, so sorry, but I'll just give a few notes just about one, two, or three maybe criteria here. Okay, so regarding, let's say, novelty, what the main novelties we found. There's a lot of stuff here, so I'll be very short. Sorry. If you would like to know more, I would gladly present or refer you to the proceedings of this conference. You can find, or make a contact with me. We can discuss later. So first of all, graph-based learning and propagation patterns. So these propagation patterns of propaganda stuff within the social networks is a very actual thing, and a few authors were using the different graph-based learning techniques. And then content and user interaction fusion. So it's like how content is used by users. So different models are applied here, like a few authors used this approach. And then bot detection and influence, like botometers and so on, they're used to, and bot score software packages, they're used to recognize bots and then to recognize botnets, the nets of bots. And in special operations, they're using botnets, coordinated net of bots. And when thousands and tens of thousands of bots are employed, then they can influence even elections in countries and so on. So role identification and infiltration thing. Also, there are different approaches related to that, like models and methods to recognize infiltrators who are infiltrating in a network, let's say a positive network or not propagandistic network, and they are infiltrating the group, let's say, and they are little by little influencing the group and how they're doing this. And then holistic approaches and comprehensive data, like there are different approaches for that. I'll not go into details here right now. And advanced analytical frameworks also employed, and disinformation through network effects also it's a kind of a novelty. And then detecting disinformation campaigns coordinated by third countries, disinformation campaigns. It's not only through IP addresses, but also different other machine learning approaches and models which help to recognize those campaigns. And then measuring echo chambers polarization effects, how it radicalizes society, and there are different models for that. And then cognitive warfare stuff. Okay. So regarding the metrics, what we found regarding the metrics, so of course there are some popular metrics used, like accuracy and so on. Then the network analysis modeling stuff, and then auxiliary additional metrics, and some ambiguous or not explicitly mentioned metrics. So it's like special cases. And in summary, of course, accuracy measure is the most popular metric. But also precision and recall is used. This metrics also is prominent. And also we found that some articles are using additional descriptive and statistical metrics for comprehensive description of data sets and articles, research topics. So, but major part of articles, not major, like 44% of articles do not provide explicit details on the metrics used. So mostly we are using kind of state-of-the-art measures for evaluation and focusing on some specific tasks. And then regarding the study of the social impact, what we found that yeah, some articles are studying fake news impact on political events and democracy. Some are studying how propaganda works through social bots and their influence. Then real-world consequences of misinformation, so like behavioral thing. And then infiltration and manipulation by digital agents, as I mentioned before. Then impact frameworks and countermeasures. There are a number of articles which we are looking for some ways to see how social impact is looking like in terms of moods, in terms of behaviors, and so on. And also, some very few articles are proposing some countermeasures, how to stop fake news propagation timely. Yeah, so in fact, as a remark here, I would say that social impact analysis just recently gained momentum. But what we found that especially machine learning researchers were doing a common mistake. They assume that people reactions on social networks directly reflect their attitudes and behavior. However, there is a large, let's say, gap between people's reactions on online networks and their actual behavior. So it's a large gap here, and we have to make additional studies in order to find the links here. Okay, here's a kind of a key innovation trend picture for you, like early 2018. We see some early stages like focus on data sets and external influences, but later on we saw like AI-driven solutions like deep geometric learning and social bots tools were developed and methods, and also network-based pattern analysis was introduced in some papers. And then later in 2022, we noticed that the focus is shifting to some early detection techniques, more sophisticated methods, like propagation network and all others, using machine learning and deep learning approaches. And the stuff is going to real time now, so that we could detect harmful stuff on networks and media as early as possible and make some countermeasures for it. And lastly, we notice a tendency towards tracking narratives spread within ecosystems, informational ecosystems. And then some inductive learning frameworks using content and graph-based indicators, some echo chamber scores metrics newly introduced, measuring cohesion and separation of user communities, and cognitive warfare thing, and so on. So the paper numbers are growing, and this stuff is developing. Of course, there are some heat maps. I have no time here for that, but just to let you know that some others, it's like frequency of articles here on the right column, and you can see that community detection and dynamics modeling was kind of most popular, together with some popular metrics used, and also fake news detection efficiency measures used for that, and partly like fake news impact on political events and democracy. Some papers also were studied ways to do that. Okay. And here's a relationships map for you between main social impact research methodological approaches, like echo chambers research, and some methodical approaches, and let's say, and some main methods employed for that. I'll just take one or two examples from this map here for you. Like, let's say, the graph theory and social network analysis. And here we have methods like graph partitioning, modularity maximization, homophilia and controversy metrics. And then let's say we have like cognitive warfare thing with open source intelligence gathering, and then narrative analysis, tracking inauthentic behavior, and so forth. And some, let's say, influence operations like algorithmic filtering and personalization analysis using filter bubble analysis, and so on. So this is a kind of a map of models, approaches, and main methods used of those research areas. Mostly studied in our systemic review case. We found mostly studied those four areas, like echo chamber research, influence operations research, opinion dynamics, and also cognitive warfare. Okay, another heat map, as you can see, yeah. So what we found in the red, the last column, the red cells indicate reasons of successful deception. The lack of papers with studies of reasons of successful deception. There are very few papers who are studied this very important thing, why deception works, for instance. And even less papers we are studying why and how this disinformation stuff radicalizes and polarizes societies, and how social impact analysis via social behavioral patterns could be studied. And of course, those topics are very complicated. They are not easy to study, and there's multidisciplinary approach needed here. So yeah, let's go through here. About main results obtained from our study. This is from our systemic review study. Just very shortly. There is much more stuff here, but very shortly. So fake news detection efficiency, we found like is a it's a major thing in provided articles, and then bot detection and influence. Then insights on content and dissemination patterns, how it works, those modeling approaches. Then model architectures and methods used, and echo chambers and polarization research, algorithmic mechanisms and countermeasures also, as I mentioned before. And of course, there are a lot of limitations. And we'll name a few. Most papers reviewed here, they obtained data from pre-labeled databases. So they just blindly use those pre-labeled databases, like fake news net and so on, and Twitter databases. And another issue is related with the regional or activity-specific focus of studies. Let's say studies related with only one election, like 2016 election in USA. And major part of most papers were using data stuff and so on from this special case. So, but this is limiting, actually, as you see, it's limiting. We have to study a lot of election cases and then make generalizations. Then, let's say, non-representative samples of the populations are limiting also validity of the results. So samples, they are not representative enough. Then some papers were relying on fact-checking websites as a primary data source. That's, of course, okay, but fact-checking also is not always manually done. Machine learning stuff is commonly used there, and it has to be rechecked. The human in the cycle should be included anyway. And then the rapid evolution of content on platforms, as I said, like Twitter, of course, Twitter or X right now is mostly a common data set used in papers because they are open. You can get their data. Unlike with Facebook, for instance, where actually we are a research partner of Facebook, Meta, our research team. But even we cannot get the data we want. And the data we get from a Meta company is more like generalized, like aggregated and depersonalized. So it's very hard to find a concrete stuff there regarding concrete disinformation campaigns, let's say. Then one of the main challenges is the rapid spread of information, which requires real-time detection. Yeah, so most of the papers are still not real-time detection-based. They are offline, like, you know. But the situation in this field of reality is changing very fast. And it's not like a 1 or 2 years old data set is still valid. No, it's not valid anymore. The data set should be updated very fast. And the better, the sooner. Real time is the most appropriate thing. And then, as I just said, dynamical nature of social media platforms and user behavior complicates the detection, and models should be continuously upgraded. And here's a Gartner hype cycle curve, let's say, to see we made it. It's our, let's say, study here. Some, let's say, on as you most probably some of you heard about Gartner hype cycle used for technology. New technology estimates and predictions. So expectations or predictions for different technology, let's say, that technology used for propaganda disinformation detection and classification in social impact field. Here's mapped. But also offers detection is closely related with this stuff, and also other stuff is related. So actually, a lot of presented stuff here is not presented in the proceedings of this conference. We have a big stuff here, which is going to be published in a paper. Elsewhere, so I'm just showing you some part of all the stuff.
Sorry, Professor. We are little about planning schedule. You know, you are.
Okay, okay. Still I have a minute or not?
Just conclusion, please, because
Okay.
we are. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, so in a minute, few research directions for you. I'm not going to discuss in detail everything here, but there are a number of fewer directions. First of all, for adaptation for other languages, adaptation for other social networks, developing generalized models, echo chamber explorations, and fewer radicalization polarization explorations, detection of social botnets, sock puppets, revealing agents of influence, and so on. These are kind of fewer directions we see in this field of research. Yeah, and let's say that's it. Here's still my contacts in case if you need more information. Thank you very much.